Just hit
Then
play.
here
I
we
just
go.
wanted to get him worked up
Okay.
on it.
There
Alright,
you go, you can have that.
clap
That's
sync
all
on 3.
you wanted.
1, 2, 3. Welcome to a little bit of a lesser energy episode of the F Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Jill, Annabeth, Nathan, Mason, and Dylan. Not in that order.
You forgot Theo.
Theo's here.
We forgot she was here.
She's the most important host.
I won't
She'd be shark food.
describe what day it is on the calendar because I feel like that might date us.
And, you know, we do our best not to fucking do that.
Yeah. So just know, some of us are a little tired because there may have been a recent holiday of some sort that required more energy than I cared to have. But on today's episode, we're talking about some smart sharks. What are those smart sharks, Jill?
They're Mako sharks.
Yeah, cool, but on what movie?
Well, there's
Not what
tiger
you
sharks,
asked.
too.
That
Yeah.
one was a tiger shark.
They
there's
said
one.
tiger shark.
That was
Yeah.
the one that
Well,
was the food.
the three main sharks are Mako sharks.
Okay.
Didn't they
Yeah.
feed the tiger shark to
Yeah.
the Mako
Oh,
shark?
he
Yeah.
surfed on that one.
We watched
Right.
Deep Blue Sea.
There it is, yeah.
Not the Deep Blue Sea.
No, different movie.
We did not get to look at Tom Hiddleston while we watched a movie.
I'd
No,
rather
we
look at,
we watched Thomas Jane
Jane.
instead.
Thomas, yeah.
Whoever he is.
He's
The
yeah, he's
Punisher?
shorter.
The
Yeah.
Punisher?
He's also
Yeah,
known as
come
the
on.
Punisher?
He's also in Money Plane
Yeah, he
for
is.
about
Yeah.
5.5 minutes.
I
Yeah.
think this was his first big project
This-
that took off.
I'm pretty
Maybe.
sure it is. Like,
This took off?
Yes,
Yes, absolutely.
It made a profit of like $100 million.
Yeah.
Oh my
You know how much this was on television? This took off. Like,
I
This-
think their budget was $60 million and they made $165 million.
This looks
Holy
just shy of like
cow.
a Jerry Bruckheimer or like a, some of those early on type movies.
So to me, this movie is Jurassic Park. It's basically
It's
like how
Jurassic
Mad
Shark.
Max.
Jurassic Shark.
It's how Mad Max and Waterworld, like Waterworld is Mad Max on
Yeah,
water. This is
uh-huh.
Jurassic Park on water.
Not wrong. Yeah. I mean, I think the
It's-
plot
it's
points
in
are
the
the
And I
same.
think that's what they wanted out of it.
They
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
It's in the same like caliber, I guess. It's on its way to that.
What-
But it's,
Like they
Well-
saw Waterworld and were like, "Hey, putting stuff on water is a good way to just use the same idea again."
Right.
Well,
And
it's
it
not
did
just
so
the
well for
popularity
them.
of Jaws. That wasn't a factor at all.
Jaws. Nobody really remembered Jaws at the time, though.
What's Jaws?
Yeah.
I don't think this is banking on Jaws. Jaws has a very
I do-
different energy.
No,
Yeah, I
it's
think
bringing
it is.
it's bringing back the shark horror action
Yes.
movie.
Yeah, because that's like almost an untapped well outside of Jaws.
And
Well, I mean,
this movie.
there's a bunch of them now, like Sharknado.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it's
Sharks
like,
on the moon.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
maybe like every decade or so that we find ourselves like in a defining shark
Yeah,
movie.
because you had 47 meters deep.
Yeah.
You have the
The
Shallows.
the
Meg.
Meg. Yeah, the
Oh.
Meg is the most recent run.
Is the
Sharknado has
Shallows
been
the
intense.
one with Blake Lively?
Yeah.
And she's
That's
like
a good
stuck on the
movie.
little like.
Yeah, she's stuck on the buoy.
Yeah,
Right.
For, like
that's
the
it.
whole movie, and there's sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, sharks aren't that scary. I've swam with sharks plenty. They're fine.
So is Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
Ask him what he thinks.
Thomas Jane is
Let's
that
get into it.
as a blonde,
Yeah.
not that scary.
As
Yeah,
a concept,
but-
sharks are pretty scary. They're not actually scary because they don't actually kill a lot of people.
Yeah, statistically.
But like, you look at one, you see one like coming at you up at you from the
Up you.
void of.
Yeah. But
Yikes.
our genetics should be, a little reactive to seeing an apex predator in its natural
I mean,
environment.
I've descended into like 12 sharks circling me before.
You don't
and
count.
fine.
Yeah.
You're gonna be Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
that's
you grow
fine.
up.
But you're hoping to die in the void that is the ocean, so yeah, the sharks are all secondary death.
Maybe
to
that
you.
void will come up and get you.
Yeah, that's
When you
true.
back down.
You keep
Made
staring.
long, died as he lived.
Yep, in the void.
Wrangling him in the void.
I don't really like the taste of us as
Mm.
Thomas Jane.
You know what? I don't like the taste
I
of
don't
this
know if I
either, so I'm
believe
with
that.
them on that.
I mean, we are bony, meaty, not fatty.
Yeah.
Like they want fatty.
Have you ever had an eel before?
Mm-hmm.
And then you
sushi.
sit there and say, "Why would I want to eat human?" You know what I mean? Like, be so for real, guys. So the plot of this movie, which is only like very very smallly important at the beginning, and then everything gets to just go off the rails. Hijinks ensues. But we just start with Thomas Jane and a bunch of scientists who have already been doing Jurassic Park science shark stuff. And sir, can you get that phone?
They're
I mean,
researching
in order.
the cure for Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
kind of.
which is super important.
On shark brains.
Yeah, which honestly,
It
pretty
has
believable.
like a little bit of scientific basis.
Yeah.
But I think it's more so in the whole thing of like sharks don't get cancer.
Right.
But to extrapolate that to Alzheimer's, I don't know. Maybe there's also some scientific backing to that. There might be.
Right.
I'm less familiar with
Maybe
that
they
part.
should have
If
just
this
gone
movie
with
said
curing
there's
cancer.
scientific backing to anything, I wouldn't believe anything they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it. There's a tremendous amount of problems with like the depth of sea that they're in, and air pressure, and
Oh my
just,
god,
like
there's no way this
Oh,
place
yeah.
nitrogen off gassing. Like there's a lot of things that get wrong in this movie, but that's not what this movie.
This
is
movie,
about,
this
so.
movie's like, all right, we could get realistic, but we're gonna miss a lot
Oh,
of fun.
they like the frustrating thing is like they will point to things of like, oh, there's going to be so much pressure of water whenever we open this door, and like everything's going to come flooding in.
and a little trickle of like a creek comes
Well,
in.
Yeah.
And they're like,
yeah.
whoa!
All right, I guess I'm just going to get into it. Dude, at one point is like, it's 230 feet to the bottom of this
way
structure,
down,
right?
You're in the way down.
That is
yeah.
7 atmospheres of pressure. That means if you have air in your lungs and you change back to 1 atmosphere of pressure, that air
You
expands
pop.
7 times in your
Nice.
lungs.
So you just get
And
inherited
then
a lot of air.
also, you've got the fact that if you've been down there for any amount of time, you've built up a lot of nitrogen in your blood, and your blood will literally boil
Nice.
if you quickly ascend.
Well, then they do touch on that towards the very, very end, where they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
at the
we're
end,
gonna
after
very
they've been,
slowly
like,
cruise
just-
up."
Cruising the altitudes for
Yeah,
right,
like
yeah.
which also way too rapid of an ascent from 230 feet. That is like well below. Like you have to be a technical
They said
diver to
60.
be that deep.
Yeah.
They did say 60.
Oh, were they at 60?
They
at
were
that
at 60
point?
at that
Because
point.
they'd gone
Okay.
back up in the structure by that point.
Right, and
yeah,
to be
they
fair,
were at
they're,
like level 2 or something.
they're racing
Level
mega
1.
sharks, so you have to go fast. You know, you're like, I'll take my chances with the bubble.
Take-
It's
take
Boiling
my
blood
chances
be
with the
damned! I
bends.
gotta beat
Yeah.
the shark to the surface.
The bends is one thing. This shark is absolutely going to kill me because it's like pretty speciesist. It does feel oddly specifically to
Yeah.
have a hate boner for these humans.
He's
Can't
meeting
figure
his
out why.
quota for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's to me the most egregious moment in this, just talking about like the difference in air pressure stuff, is like after. We haven't even talked. Samuel Jackson's in this movie.
Oh my God,
He's
is
like
he?
the financial backer.
Mhm.
He's my biggest worry about this movie.
Things go real sideways on this like trip of his out to visit this facility that he's been like bankrolling the whole time.
Mhm.
We're well into the story at this point where he's kind of giving them all a pep speech about
He's
like
the
this.
leader.
Yes, he
Scene
is
in the movie.
Yeah,
It's
it is
the
the
best
leader.
one.
It is peak scene.
It's pretty funny because he's giving this whole speech and like everybody's all like ready to go, and then the shark just comes up and eats his ass
Yeah.
out of
It's
one
just
of
a good
those
shot.
moon pools. Which
Yeah.
the moon pools are like, it is a cool thing to do
Yeah.
in a underwater facility, but what that necessitates is if you have 7 atmospheres of pressure at the depth you're at, in order
the
to
tags
have
in this
the
thing
water,
is gonna be 7
Right.
atmospheres.
like
of
in order to
pressure.
have the water not just surge into the room, you have to have counter air pressure at 7 atmospheres
Uh-huh.
to keep it that way. Which whenever they're talking about like, oh, we'll open up the thing to go up the vertical shaft to get out of there, and whenever we open it up, the water's going to come surging in because of the change in atmospheric pressure. If they had done that, their blood would have boiled when they went into that other
Is it
room.
worth it to have the shot of Samuel Jackson getting eaten by a shark mid
For sure.
speech?
And that's it.
Absolutely
Yeah.
worth it.
And
Or
you
what
know,
about one of the Skarsgårds, like
Yeah.
catapulting himself into the freaking room? I don't know. Let's get into the real parts of this movie instead of all of the
we haven't even
scientific.
mentioned Cuba Gooding.
or
in
Yeah, like
comparison.
ultimately,
Best
like
character
in the
movie.
like it's silly.
Mhm.
And it doesn't really matter. Like,
No.
this movie's not trying to, like, I mean, you don't have an underwater facility with like duct work
I
way
mean,
up in the air
yeah.
like that.
You
That
could
is
just
so much
keep going on
excess wasted
forever about
space.
problems with the movie, like when they're looking at the brain piece and it's just a hunk of brain.
Yeah.
It's not how you
And
do
somehow
slides.
through a microscope, they can see it as
And
like
you can
a,
see the electricity running through
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, here's the what I've heard for the last 5 minutes is people trying to bring science to my stupid shark movie.
That's
And
what I'm saying.
Your smart shark movie.
It's my stupid
That's
smart
true.
shark movie, right?
well,
and
the humans
a
are
movie
stupid in
about
this
trying
movie.
to cure Alzheimer's.
yeah, stupid.
That's really the
We're gonna make
tagline
super
for this
science.
should just be nothing about the sharks, just like a movie about scientists trying to cure Alzheimer's out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the rest could be surprise.
Yeah, but don't let the stupid science get in the way of the fun, guys. This is a blast.
Yeah.
First of all, also, quick side note and worth pointing out, not only does Samuel L. Jackson have the best scene in this film, the fact that it's also him in Jurassic Park and also him in water Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Is
That's another point in my graph of this is Jurassic Park.
it is,
online.
yeah.
And that they knew it was, and that's why they wanted him. And they probably, they probably asked everybody that was at Jurassic Park, but Samuel L. Jackson's the one most.
Bro, I
likely to
forgot he
accept
was
any
in that
role.
movie.
When
I was
was
sitting here
Jurassic
thinking,
Park?
like, where is he?
Do what?
What
I
year
know,
was
I can't-
Jurassic Park?
93.
He was in like
93.
the data room with like the big
Yeah.
Yeah,
headset
he's
guy.
Yeah,
there.
he's
He's smoking a
the
cigar.
one
he's
that's
smoking
like-
a chain
Yeah.
smoking. Just
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
one trying to stop what's his name's like
Nedry's
virus. Yeah.
yeah.
The worst actual part of Jurassic Park
All
is
right.
you'll see his arm fall onto the person. I thought like on that,
Mhm.
and it's just like this very
It's a very
plastic,
prop arm.
fake, shitty arm. And even as a kid, I remember thinking like, who is that supposed to? What is that supposed to be? That's just a mannequin arm. Anyways, that's beside the point. We're back to this movie though. So there's a couple other characters that we feel like I should be pointing out because this is a roster of
cook.
people going to die.
The
The
cook,
cook.
is one of the best
The
characters.
cook
And-
is the best
And
character.
speaking of characters who don't die, we have the cook and Thomas Jane. And
Which-
here's maybe my favorite part, spoiler. Everybody else goes, though.
Mhm.
Even the girl who feels like that it's a very clearly, like...
Which I really liked that.
I did
Which,
too.
Granted,
Yeah.
they originally were gonna have her survive, and our test audience was like, no,
No.
kill her.
Yeah.
So they did.
I appreciate that
Yeah,
this
I
movie
mean,
doesn't have
She
a chill
deserved
about
to
it.
die.
Yeah.
And it's also funny that the like stereotypical trope black guy who is like aware that he's like
In the horror
He should
movie.
be
the
in
Yeah.
the
one to
movie, and
die,
the whole
yeah.
time he's like, we don't make it out of this.
Yeah.
We never make it out of this,
Yeah.
and he makes it.
I really,
Yeah.
I really like that turn of like he survives and like the girl that would be the love interest
Yeah.
dies. I like that.
I think it would be better if Thomas Jane also died and the cook was literally the only one left. But
Nah, because they gotta have buddy cop shark movies afterwards, right? Like,
oh my gosh, is that what happens in the sequel? Is it the two of them?
no, they
Well,
couldn't afford them,
You also
but...
have to think about like right versus wrong, and like like the girl, she died, studying what she was studying.
It's
and
Frankenstein's monster,
Yeah.
like, full circle.
Thomas
again.
Jane was
Yeah.
pretty darn innocent in all of this, and so was the cook. Versus
Right.
everyone else had so many hands in this whole. Even the doctor's girlfriend, the little blonde lady.
Right.
Yeah.
She was probably the next most innocent outside of the weather lady.
But she just
I know.
slipped the
I wanted
softest.
the weather
though.
lady to
She's
live.
the sister
I
in The
liked her.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
This is as soon as I
You've just
saw
been watching
her.
Sopranos
I
again?
know,
What a good
But,
time
like,
for you
of
to
course,
queue
the
up.
only two characters to survive were not the scientist playing God,
No.
and
Yeah.
the scientist playing God
Yes.
have to be dead.
I
Yeah.
mean, here's like it was a little back and forth on it because on one side I'm like, all right, they are trying to cure Alzheimer's, but the other part of it is also like, yeah, but there is something karmic about the idea that you made super sharks, and it's like, well, I guess you're gonna get killed by your own super
And
shark
even,
because
even
Frankenstein.
the not secret version of what they're doing, like sure the scientist has like an extra
Yeah.
thing, but like what they're doing is making the brains of the sharks bigger
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah.
So like that's a thing you should be careful of.
Right.
Yeah.
And how like increasing the size of their brains didn't. All right, now here's a little bit of science that even like I'm like, wait a minute. The brains get noticeably bigger, but their skulls don't get bigger, and I don't know the math on like how big skulls are for sharks.
Well,
Maybe they come
there
built
is
with
something
them.
to that with just like how much folding.
Yeah.
Like the amount of folding to a brain is also like
That's true, and that
increasing,
makes
like,
you
an
smarter.
increasing density.
Maybe it just got wrinkles.
Like it's
yeah.
amazing. Like you can say your brain is bigger, but what it could mean in actuality is like it is just denser.
Yeah. And maybe that's what it is, but the way they've continually worded it is that it was like, I mean, and this is not the wording in the movie, but it goes from like grape to apple, like they're saying it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I want to
What they're
see,
saying is they
like,
just
blowing
need
out of
the
more
big
of that
brain.
protein,
Yeah.
so there could be more of that protein.
yeah, I mean, to
regardless
be
of
fair, like
size.
our brains swell from time to time, so,
Yeah, there's room in there.
it usually doesn't kill us. Yeah, there's like a smidge room, so maybe it just hit the walls. Maybe that's why they're so angry. Their brain has hit the walls of their skull, and they're just
Yeah.
like, ow!
They have the worst headache.
They do. And they
I
know
mean,
exactly who
I
gave
would-
it to them.
Kill a bunch of people too if I just had a headache all the time.
Clip it.
Yeah.
Clip it. Send it to the FBI. 2025, we're snitching everybody.
If I were a shark.
Yeah, there it is. Context is important for this podcast.
Shark.
But this movie does a pretty good job of like the formulaic, like, oh, everything's going well, but there's just something hidden beneath the surface.
Mhm.
No pun intended, but
Pun intended.
well, it's you feel something around the corner all the time, and then even when everything's perfect, whenever they catch that, which I thought was cool. Whenever Thomas Jane, again, like you said, maybe off camera earlier, was like out sharking the sharks.
Yeah.
Like swimming around, doing the dodging in the
The
water.
fact that he
thing.
outmaneuvers them in their
Just
own
to catch him.
element. Yeah.
Like he's probably done this like 8 million times, and I guess he
Can
just
you do
keeps
that,
coming up
Nathan?
with a better time.
Yeah.
And Anyways, and then all hell breaks loose when the guy's arm gets chopped off. One of the Skarsgård brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
The
the
dad.
Skarsgård daddy.
Mm.
Yeah, he is.
He's,
Oh,
Stellan.
he's the Skarsgård
I guess this is a
daddy.
pretty old
Clip
movie.
that.
Papa Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Yeah, Papa
I
Scar.
believe it is Stellan. Is that?
Yeah, Stellan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one from Mamma Mia.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say the one
Nymphomaniac,
from
yeah,
Andor,
that's the
but
one.
sure.
What?
Andor. It's
Sure.
more his more recent role. He's fantastic. That show's good.
But Mamma Mia is more iconic.
So yeah,
He was
everybody
also
else
in
does.
Thor, right?
He is in Thor, yeah.
The shark rolls in. Here's a question I want to ask though. So this movie, first of all, how many times has everybody seen this loosely?
All right,
This was my first.
Okay, this was first.
I swear to you, I've seen this movie 10 times, but
Yeah.
I did not remember the first, 19 minutes tops.
I can believe
I
that.
don't remember this movie starting with, a booze yacht and,
Yeah.
friends all dancing, and I don't remember Thomas Jane shark hunting. I do not remember the Samuel L. Jackson, conference room part. I don't remember any
I
of
mean,
that.
to me, that's the same thing with House on Haunted Hill, where I don't remember it opening
Yes.
in
In the theme part.
Universal
Right.
theme
Yes.
park
Right.
and stuff. That's a very different piece of
I-
it, and the whole bulk of the movie
thought
takes
I
place
had the
somewhere
wrong
else.
movie. Because I did not, and I've seen this movie, like you said, on TNT
Yeah,
10 times
at
when I was
least.
growing up.
Yeah.
I remembered everything else except for that, and I was like, oh, I guess it does need a little setup.
But
But,
they
yeah.
gotta have a reason to be there.
Right.
You didn't remember
Yeah.
anything but the
Alzheimer's.
sharks.
I mean, and I would say this is probably, this is the second time I've watched it this year.
Really?
With
Jesus.
with dozens upon dozens of times other than that, because it was always on TV and it's always a banger. So
Yeah.
It's a really good watch on direct TV.
Yes.
Or cable television when there's a commercial.
yeah,
every 9
I can
minutes.
tell you exactly. I was in Chicago when I watched this last time, and I was in the hotel, and I'm like, "What's on?" And I saw Deep Blue Sea, and I say less," and then that's just immediately locked in.
It is. It's one of those movies that growing up you don't skip it. I don't know.
No,
why,
it's just
or at least
it's
for me.
yeah, it was a non-skippable movie on this one. I'm trying my best to think if it's ever been scary. Actually, if it does the thriller
has
angle
a
well
To
at
me,
all,
it's just a comedy.
yeah,
I think it's meant to be an action thriller.
it's more, but the action is so front that
I mean, it has suspense.
yeah. I mean,
It's
if this was
there.
graded purely as a thriller movie, it'd be a really bad thriller. But because it's to your point, I think the action part is the leading aspect of it, and this is a killer action movie. Though.
I mean, it's pretty good. Helicopter top to bottom. I mean, it's there's a lot of cool-ish scenes, and even the cheesy ones are don't you dare.
Theo,
Oh,
get away
Theo.
from the microphone.
Oh, we're about to get some cat
Some
ASMR.
cat ASMR,
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
gonna lean against it.
Just lick the
Anyways,
microphone.
Yeah.
She went up there and licked her lips at it.
Uh-huh.
You've seen this before too, right?
I'm sure I have.
But you don't remember.
It's like a bad movie before the 2000s.
They
I
have
mean, you
to.
should
You
have
have to
watched
watch it if you scuba dive.
Yeah, that's true.
This should be like a
yeah.
a
program.
That's
must
definitely
watch.
what
Yeah.
you need to watch if you're going to be getting into scuba diving.
All right, guys. So there's 7 atmospheres down. Here's what we're not gonna do. This is just the don'ts of it all.
Nathan had to recite almost like the 10 Commandments, but it's the 7 atmospheres
Yeah.
of scuba diving, and that's why this is so close to
Down
the
here,
brain.
you're in Pluto, guys. To be clear, and it's not even a planet anymore. So for the
Ice
Zoomers who
and
don't get that
blood in the
reference,
water.
I think you pick a planet that probably has a lot less atmosphere.
Don't get us started on
The
this
point
again.
of this.
Well, it's about effective distance from home.
Yeah.
See what you did.
If you're that deep,
See
you
what
know
you
you
did.
have so many hours of decompression before you can ever even come back up.
He gets it.
Yeah.
All right, Jill. All right.
He gets it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. For as much as I don't get it, he does get it.
Yeah,
Like, I
exactly.
mean-
I was just like, I see no problem with this science.
This is fun.
Yeah.
I know it's probably not science,
I
but
would, yeah.
I don't know what about it is not sciencing.
Yeah. Anybody who comes in this film and then immediately starts docking it for the science aspects of it, but truly
Yeah, I'm
docking.
not docking it.
Right,
I,
right,
I
right.
just find it very
Yes, sir.
silly. Their how flip floppy they are with
Sometimes
when,
they do bring it
when
back.
things
Yeah.
matter and when things don't matter.
Yeah.
You know.
When it's easy for the shot to
Well,
make sense in the
Also,
science.
it's
right?
very convenient if you want to talk about that, where each sub level can be let out just to get them some time. Like when they're in the big cylinder type room and they have to
Yeah.
climb straight up. Oh, we're gonna open this door that way the sharks don't get us as fast. We don't give a shit who's in this floor. Oops,
Yeah.
sorry. They're probably gonna die out of this, but at least it gives us some more time up here.
Yeah.
And they do
Anyways.
at least know that no one else was on
In theory, yeah.
except for the
Mhm.
cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Which luckily, All right, you know what? Here's a question.
Mhm.
I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit.
Okay.
What shark death scene was the best? What shark death was the best?
Oh,
Like
the killing
death
of
of
the
the
sharks,
shark?
not
Yeah.
of the people.
Killing of the sharks. Oh,
There's 3.
My favorite.
This is a valid question.
My favorite tends to be the very last one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The one in the
all
fence where you
too.
pull
Yeah.
the detonator, and then
Yeah.
you see the fish
yeah.
chest.
Because I mean,
the
shark
explosion.
electrocution is kind of meh.
Yeah.
The explosion is like complete BS.
that is
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
That's why
I
I
hated,
don't
I
like
hated the
Total
explosion
bullshit.
one. I hated that she just got naked for the sake of being in the movie. To
That was my
electrocute
favorite
stuff.
one, but it was because of
I
the
really disagree.
electrocution.
Yeah.
I also thought that was dumb because
Oh, yeah,
if
that was-
if she is dripping wet,
Dude,
then there is water
And
dripping down her, making
she-
contact
She
with the
yanked
ground.
that conduit out and was
Yeah.
just manhandling it as if it wasn't gonna like touch
Yeah.
something metal or something wet. in
She
her
definitely
hands.
found the rubber parts. You know.
Also,
Yeah.
does
Like,
anyone know how far electricity goes in open water to like affect other creatures?
Well, that's the thing. This
yeah.
whole place should have been like fried
'Cause, like,
multiple
Right.
times.
If
I mean,
it
they were
goes far enough,
submerged.
the other 2 guys that are probably in the water probably should have felt it.
Yeah, they probably would have.
Probably.
Like that. I don't know. Like it. Electricity does dissipate
Uh-huh.
quite a lot.
It's got a
in water.
potency range.
And I only know this because of my like my mom and sister-in-law. They were on like one of those things where like the parachute glider kind of deals,
Mm.
and lightning struck and like electrocuted the guy that was like working the thing, like whatever the thing was to reel
When
them
they
in
were
on the boat.
parasailing?
Oh, the
Yeah.
winch thing.
That's how Jurassic Park 3 starts.
That's literally Jurassic
Yeah.
Park 3.
Right.
I like
Yeah.
Jurassic
Yeah.
They go through the clouds and then they see the ship is just unmanned.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Okay, so the guy who was supposed to reel them in got electrocuted.
Uh-huh.
Then what happened?
I think he was like getting things ready for them to go out. Is
Oh.
like they were like getting
they
the
weren't up
equipment
and
So they
in
weren't
there,
in
like
the
watching
sky.
down.
Oh,
or anything
okay.
yet. Like I think they didn't even
Because
get
it
to
sounds
do it.
even
Like, it
riskier
got
for them if
canceled
he's getting
because of
shocked.
the
Yeah.
lightning at that point.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, he got shocked, and the lightning was quite far away. But obviously, it wasn't like he got struck by a lightning bolt in
Yeah.
strength. So it does dissipate quite a bit across water.
That's wild. Now I'm more scared of parasailing.
I mean, you should. Can you
Thanks.
imagine being in
Shouldn't you
water?
just be afraid of being in the water though?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that one does
Oh,
it for me.
you want another horror story?
But I'm just thinking
My,
about getting shocked by lightning while you're parasailing. You're just up there and a lightning bolt just hits you.
My little brother, the thing to like lift them whenever they were like taking off,
Uh-huh.
it went down instead of going up, so he just got like drugged through water.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the actual nightmare. of
That's like
Yeah.
tubing, or like if you're out on the water and you go down underneath.
Uh-huh.
And then a smart shark just
Rips you. Yeah.
Like
in a lake.
in a lake.
Right.
You can parasail in a lake?
You could tube in a lake.
Oh, you're talking about tubing.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about parasailing and then it just dips you underwater.
Deep Blue Sea 9 is in the lake.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, lake sharks.
We had these training skis on the lake.
yeah.
Like whenever I was younger, they were like kind of connected with
Oh, that's
something.
good. So you don't do the splits on
Yeah,
yourself?
I guess ended up like was way better off with real ones because
Mm.
those ones, what ended up happening as I took off on them is like the nose dipped a little bit and they just immediately
Oh,
went
they-
down
yeah.
and they acted like an anchor, like they just rocketed down to the bottom
Yeah.
of the lake. Luckily, with me having like my feet slipped out of them
Oh.
and just were gone. Like we didn't even, they were just gone. We didn't
Yeah.
get them back.
They were never recovered.
So this is why I don't swim. Yeah, because it sounds like you guys learn how to swim to go do this stuff, and then
To
horrific
do water sports.
Yeah, and then horrific water sports stuff keeps happening.
Yeah.
And between that and this movie, I was just convinced. Why are we in the water? That's, you know what? Listen, there's a reason why we haven't conquered all the waters. All right, we've got this much at the top, and then the void has everything else. And every time we go in there,
Something bad happens.
we tend to say maybe we
I mean,
should.
James Cameron's gone down into the void.
Yeah, and he made a movie.
He's the only one that the void allows.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they'll probably welcome him back.
right.
All right. So, any other thoughts on the movie? I mean,
I liked their practical effects. I like the sharks.
Yeah.
The sharks
I
were
think
pretty
sharks
visuals
were
on
fun.
this were pretty solid all around. I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything where it looked bad
And,
at
like,
all.
this is gonna sound weird, but like a wet Thomas Jane, pretty good looking guy.
Yeah.
Blonde hair, blonde tips, whatever you call
Even
it.
even a sweaty and mostly not really ever wet, but moist Cuba Gooding Jr. You know, like
Yeah.
this cast is a very good wet cast. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. Yep. And I don't know. I think it did
Was
a good
that
job.
Cuba Gooding Jr.?
yeah.
No, it's LL Cool J.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you,
was like,
keep
it's
thinking-
not Cuba Gooding
I swear
Jr.
it's Cuba. It was
You were
It was
thinking
not
of,
Cuba. That's the guy from
Because he's
Snow
the one
Dog.
who sings the
Snow
shark
Dogs
spin thing at the
and,
end.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no, it is. I'm always getting those two mixed up.
the bobsleigh
LL
one.
Cool
That's
J,
what
but
it
yeah,
was.
the not Eight Below, but the other dog sled movie,
Snow Dogs.
Snow
The
Dogs.
Snow Dogs.
That's literally the only thing I know Cuba
Cool
Gooding
Runnings.
Jr. from.
The
Yeah.
Wait, who's in Cool Runnings?
I think that's Cuba,
also
Is
all
it?
the sections
or it's
where the
LL
cook
Cool J.
was-
It's been a long time.
Oh, the videos that the chef
him
was
like
doing
talking
cooking.
about like cooking.
Yeah.
Omelet, the perfect
That,
Oh,
omelet.
that was
yeah.
funny.
Those are good.
But what I was gonna say too is like all the sections where he's walking through like the half-flooded hallways. Have you ever played Resident Evil 1?
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you
It
ever
was
get
cool,
to the
Jack.
point
Oh.
where there were sharks in like half-flooded hallways?
Yeah. It's
Like, it
this.
just reminded me of that. Yeah.
But that's actually remotely scary in that game, where in this, it's just remotely fun. Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude's cold. You know.
Yeah, right.
Like, and that's very realistic because they're definitely below the thermal climb there. It would have been very, very cold.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, we don't talk about how cold, but science.
Science.
Yeah, he's
Quick
the
time.
only one that seems to have been affected by the cold.
Right.
Also by himself.
Everybody else was just like swimming through, just doing their thing.
Well,
but
they've got like
nah,
Scar's guards who are like Norwegian and stuff like
Yeah.
that. These are all Vikings, like DNA folks, and then they got tropical LL Cool J just chilling. Doesn't belong here. He tells us that consistently. Makes it out because
Well,
the
what's he
movie
doing there then?
cooking,
Cooking.
telling us how to make the best
Like,
fucking
there's a lot of
omelet.
places you could have been a cook, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah, but who else was gonna pay to put you 7 leagues under the sea? You know,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Seven
that's
atmospheres.
probably you
Uh-huh.
can get paid the most being a cook in a place like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like in all reality, if you were to be a cook in a place like that, you probably would have to be certified as a technical diver
Yeah.
in order to even do
Ooh.
that. Like, I
You
think
would
everybody that
Should have
goes
to.
down into that facility probably would have had to been certified as a
But
tech-
Samuel
as a
That's
Jackson-
if they followed rules.
Which
Yeah.
they clearly
We've
didn't care
Oh
about.
established
yeah,
that they
because
don't
they
do
also
that.
ignored the
Also-
the moratorium on
all the
like
all the people
DNA
that
editing.
leave
Uh-huh.
on that ship, there's not a single one of those guys trained to do anything special.
Yeah.
The people that leave for the weekend and
Oh,
come
yeah.
back,
They looked like
mm-mm.
they were getting on a party boat.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure they
I'm
were.
pretty sure
Well,
they
when
are.
they came back,
They
it
don't
looked
work
like
there.
a party boat again.
Yeah. The
They were
Bachelor.
waving. What's going on?
Hey man, what did we miss,
Why is
bro?
all this shit broken?
Like there's like well at that point there's probably almost no
It's
base
nothing
left.
because it's
Yeah.
sunk,
Yeah.
right?
The
Yeah.
base is underwater with like just little tiny bits of platform from the top of the base, with explosion of shark and
And
I mean, they
helicopter
might have
runs.
seen the
Yeah.
shark explosion.
might have. They weren't. The sea is pretty wide shot, so I don't think it's impossible that they don't see that explosion.
Yeah.
They
They
think,
made sure
Isn't
those
that where we
shark
work?
chunks went
Yeah.
as far up and
Yeah.
out as they possibly could.
Yeah.
right.
That shit exploded.
That was an insane explosion.
Yeah, and
Also for
Thomas
LL,
Jane.
yeah, for LL Cool J, just to be like, oh yeah, I understand the assignment, even though I was passed out moments ago. And
Yeah.
Right.
Earl dives in, he's like, let me just pick up this harpoon gun and also detonate this thing.
Mhm.
I understand everything.
They gave her a cool. I mean, she had a cool out though. She had that like self-sacrifice drop.
Getting ripped in half.
Yeah, and then it's
Well-
like pretty gnarly, just the rip in half. As a matter of fact, I remember thinking like, well, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, I didn't think they were gonna do that to that character, and they did that hard.
So they did it over and over again because like you knew no one was safe by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Luckily, but
Yeah.
each one was still like striking. Like, even when it was like,
I mean, yeah, even the girl that's like the blonde girl,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
whatever,
beta girl.
the
Yeah.
moment where she's like surging up towards him, and it's just like, oh, it's because she's been like bitten
Yep.
by the
Right.
shark.
yeah,
Like,
she's
that was pretty
she's
cool.
like
Yeah.
shooting up in the air.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool things. Even the guy underwater, which I don't think he could hold his breath for that long. He was just a scientist,
All right.
but I mean, he took one for the team down there. I
Right.
liked how he turned on or whatever it was, the fuse box.
Mhm.
Their whole mission was just to go down there and like pump some electricity into something. And he immediately gets eaten, and not only that, the shark literally just rams the fuse box.
Get fucked
Yeah,
you,
oh,
It was
yeah.
all for nothing.
Right.
That whole mission
you-
was nothing.
You taught them how to sabotage the mission further, is the what you taught the sharks.
You showed the
It's like,
sharks
oh,
where the
you
fuse
want
box
this?
was.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yes.
It's actually my favorite part of the film, really, in hindsight. Is
It
the,
looks cool.
It's a great shot, but it's the consistency of which they're constantly teaching the sharks to fuck them.
Yes.
Like the sharks, Like,
Yeah, let's show them what benefits us, so that way they can take it away from us.
yeah, just the Shark 4D chess of of their strategic breakdowns and everything is I don't know, the comedy the unintentional but purposeful comedy of this movie, I think, just does hit the tone. This is a movie that's going for several genres and somehow winning. You know, like
it's checking boxes, sometimes not fully, but like it's still
Yeah.
penciled in a little bit. You do a
Right.
Scantron, it's not all the way. Then you
it's
get
one
it
of those
wrong.
half bubbles and there's
Yeah.
a little bit there. Yeah,
This is the type of movie where they tell you, "Hey, listen, make sure you fill in the box fully." In my opinion,
I'm here for it. Fat, thin, perfectly fit.
let's do it.
Take it from the top. Annabelle.
I feel like I say every movie is fit. I feel like I say every movie is
Oh,
fit.
we've just
but
had a
this
lot of
movie
fit
is
movies.
fit.
Yeah.
Well, these are a lot of your first watches. too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So you
It's
have a-
just like, I mean, it does what it does.
Yeah,
I think it's fit.
I agree. I also think it's fit.
yeah.
I don't think you need the opening boat scene.
Mm,
That's
Like
fine.
That
yeah.
that
Yeah.
you really don't need.
the most confusing part of the whole movie for me.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's a very blockbuster moment. They're like, oh, you're in the theater, you're sitting down. It's a shark movie. They're in the water.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, put girls in bikinis. Like
Yeah.
you're tying a lot of knots up just right then. Of like, oh hey,
It's just
You remember
like
Jaws?
it's the
You
attention
know?
grabber.
Yeah,
It
you're
is.
just you're just pulling them in.
This is
It's
like-
like the pre-opening scene to like any movie where it's
Right.
like here's the not relevant people doing stuff, and then we'll
Yeah.
get to the actual movie.
real quick. So was Thomas Jane? Sorry, you can continue in a second. But like, whenever he asked the scientist kid, like, how high are these fences? Was he implying that like the shark was jumping over the fence to get out? Like, how did the shark get out?
I think he was thinking the shark could have jumped
I
out.
wish
Yeah.
they
Right.
had jumped.
Yeah.
They did not jump.
So
I
that's
would
what I
have
was
liked
wondering.
the Free
Yeah.
Willy moment, and then
Well,
it explodes.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
because the
sweet.
shark at the end is bashing its way
Right,
out of the
tearing
steel
its way
fence,
through
even
and
though it
not-
had gotten it lower.
It was probably
And
at
yeah,
6
the
feet
implication
again.
was
Right.
the one had like gotten away.
Your coffee's about to
You
get.
can have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I was, because they never really revisited that. I don't think the gate was open. Like, there wasn't anything really
Yeah.
resolved.
No, like
in that.
it was the titanium beneath the water was
Underneath.
strong enough to keep the sharks, but the fence
But
on
the
top
fence on
Oh,
top
but
wasn't.
this
was
fence on
Said
top
it was able to
wasn't.
burst through the top fence.
Right.
Mhm.
But him saying that, I wanted
Does-
the shark to jump over the
Yeah, it
fence.
does
Oh,
set the
for sure,
impression
like a
that one was
dolphin.
about to jump.
I
I
was
mean, you can
picturing
see
Free
great
Willy.
whites making some
Pretty
pretty
huge
big
stuff.
jumps. There's some pretty good footage of that just naturally, so you would think
You just have
super
the shark
smart,
blow up
massive
in
one.
the air.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
shot.
But to be
Mhm.
fair, though, the CG of the time, I think it's great in the water. I think you put the shark doing a sick flip over it. You know, I think that probably cost.
Takes
them
Well,
Okay.
they
some
could just
money.
maybe use one of the puppets. They have the puppet sharks.
I like the idea of it being like literally the Muppet puppet. Like it's not even remotely trying to get something. And then it's just a beautiful CG again back underwater with it.
I
Yeah,
think we need more bad CG.
yeah. We need to bring back.
This
like
movie was
those
just
backwards
after the
swimming
bad
shark.
stuff.
Right.
I like bad practical effects, bad CG. I like really weird scale models that look clearly like scale models.
Yeah.
Like, give me more of that.
Alright, so-
Lower your budgets. Make more fun films, you know?
Right. Finishing out Fat Thin, I agree with Nathan. The front part, and I actually agree with you as well. Every time I do watch this movie, I think like, oh yeah, I forgot this part exists. Because I feel like the movie in my head starts.
It's
with
just in the
Thomas-
station. Like,
Yeah, they're at the station, and
Yeah.
Thomas Jane's showing off his like shark handling
that's
abilities.
it. That's the beginning of the
That's like
I
mentally
think
my
the
brain
opening
turns
was
on.
the Samuel Jackson part is fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think having a lead in with him,
Yeah,
Like,
to kinda
you
understand,
gotta
like,
establish
why.
Establish
Okay.
him because he's
Yeah.
like in a lot of ways the
also,
guy.
it just sells the whole thing of this being Jurassic Park.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because you have to have that flying in
Yeah, I was gonna
moment
say
of
the
like
flying
looking at
moment.
the facility and being like, oh wow.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
like they
dun.
could have been playing that music for that part.
I think John Williams would let him borrow it.
You
like,
think so?
For this movie, absolutely. Mason.
Yeah, it was pretty fit. It wrapped itself up pretty well. I mean,
Thomas Jane fit or lady scientist at the end fit?
that's a good question.
Yeah.
They're both very, very fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the difference between 0 and 1% body fat, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I do. I think it accomplished all of its missions. Even the beginning is fine, because you do need a little bit of a hook.
right.
But yeah, it's
Oh,
fine.
He said it. He said hook. And
How many puns is that now? We up to 3 or
That's
4?
a 3, I
You're
believe.
gonna do
Yeah.
a pun counter.
Uh-huh.
the
You
video?
get a ding
Oh, yeah.
at the top
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It'll go right here.
of it. Yeah.
No, it won't.
So I guess without further ado, let's go to scores. We'll yo-yo our way back. We'll start with you, Mason.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really did not like Samuel L. Jackson in this movie.
Well, I mean,
most
you might
of the
like how it
time,
goes.
I really did not like him. Mainly because, like, he's okay being the financial, budget guy for this. That's fine. Let him be the Mr.
The
Rich.
John Hammond of
Yeah,
this,
the suit
yeah.
of this whole thing. That's fine.
Right.
But not only did we get that, we got him as a crazy, like, Swiss Alps avalanche survivor that has led expeditions and can somehow just create a leadership approach to this group of strangers out of nowhere. He was the smartest person in that facility for a good chunk of this movie for some reason, and I don't understand why. He understood why they should go up and how and when. I didn't like that at all, and I do think that takes it down for me because, like, the scene that you mentioned earlier where, like, he gets grabbed, can't stand that scene. I can't stand the speech.
What?
I think it's just dumb. I
So,
think
yeah, so
It
if you
was
don't
so
like the
funny.
speech, you should enjoy him getting
I
eaten.
will
Right,
say I
yeah.
do like
Isn't there satisfaction to
upon
them?
first watch. That's like, oh, they're going places with it. Okay, that was
Yeah.
crazy. But I just think it's cheesy. It reminds me of their what is it? I'm tired of these motherfucking states.
Yeah,
this
so
motherfucking plane.
yeah.
It's the same energy.
Yeah.
The movie was dumb,
Uh-huh.
but outside of Samuel L. Jackson, this movie is still really fun and it's still a good watch. I still want to give it an 8. I think it's an
Yeah.
8. I think of. You don't get many action movies underwater or in facilities where the only way is up. So for that fact, I think it's an 8 for me. It's solid. It's fun, and I actually forgot Thomas Jane was in it,
Yeah.
which is why again it confused me at the beginning. I didn't remember.
I think it was the Chicago watch where I was like, wait, son of a bitch, that's the Punisher. That's Thomas Jane.
That's Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah, because the blonde hair really does throw you off. on
It does. I thought it was Paul Walker for some reason.
Yeah.
But that's what's that movie with Jessica Alba and him? Into the Blue.
Into the Blue, yeah.
Is that
And-
another shark movie?
No, they're
No,
treasure hunters.
Treasure Hunters, yeah.
And they're off the coast of like some random like Key Island.
Has
or
this
something.
great shot of Jessica Alba swimming down, cheeks just very like nailing it. Dude, Jessica Alba's peak.
Into the
Anyways,
Blue
Is
actually
that
a
the
really
real
good movie.
treasure of the movie?
it is.
No, they found the real treasure.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jessica
I haven't
Alba.
seen that one.
It's good.
I-
it's an early
I'm
2000s.
gonna have to check that out.
It's an
Good
early
vibes,
2000s,
movie.
so you
I love
know
a
that it's a
treasure
movie that
hunt
was unrestricted in his creativity, much like this movie. I mean, where you would say that part's cheesy, I don't know, man. I came to an Italian restaurant and ordered marinara sticks. I'm not, like, mozzarella sticks rather. I'm not annoyed by how cheesy it is, right? So, although marinara sticks is technically not wrong. Anyways, yeah, I've enjoyed this film for a very, very long time, and I continue to enjoy that film. And I don't know, something about the test of time of it wants me to give it a really egregiously high score.
No. Damn near perfect.
I can't give it that much, though. But this is probably one of my... I mean, this may be, without thinking too hard, I know it's going to be wrong, but, like, it probably may be, like, my favorite, like, pretty objectively bad film.
Oh
But-
my god.
But I'm starting...
It's not that bad.
But here's the thing, I'm starting to believe now it's not even that bad, so, like... yeah, it's just a
I think
good...
yeah.
It's just a good film, but 8.5 seems crazy high for this film based on, like, my previous metric on it, and I don't like the lack of consistency in my grading scales on this one. I'll give this a set... No, fuck it, it's so fun. I'll give it an 8,
I was
sure.
gonna say, don't leave me alone at
I
the
don't-
top. I
No, this movie on so much of its fun deserves to be an 8. I think the only thing stopping it more is, like, there's a lot of reasons to have nudity in this movie, and they choose to skirt it, Where you guys
Oh
are
my
like, well, and
God.
then the girl just strips down
Yeah,
necessarily.
for no reason.
And I'm like, disagree. And second of all, there's so many more reasons that all of this cast could have been naked at several points in the film,
Especially the chef.
especially the chef. And they just didn't. So, shame on you, movie. Listen, none of these actors were so prolific at this time that they couldn't have. Samuel Jackson was the only one, and he has the best scene in the film, being eaten by a shark. Pride comes before the fall. So, Nathan, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I mean this movie's got a lot going on for sure.
You
And
love
it's
the
like
science.
yeah, I mean it's got a lot of goofy science, which I think is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just watched Interstellar, which is trying to go real
Boy,
hard
yeah.
on the science.
We're
and
hitting
trying to
science.
be real about the science. And this
Yeah, haven't
is,
you read the book that came out?
The Science About Deep Blue Sea.
Whereas this movie is using science where it is convenient and ignoring it where it is inconvenient.
As movies should do.
As
Yeah.
movies should.
For the record,
Like-
can we make the book the science of Lucy? It's just the laughing
It wouldn't
emoji
be,
pages
yeah, it
after
wouldn't be a
pages.
long book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's entertaining,
Mhm.
which is also what movies should be.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. There's a time and a place to have a serious movie, and this ain't.
This is not it, yeah.
But at least they knew what they were going for.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, to me, this is absolutely just Jurassic Park on water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that is what they were aiming for, and I think they did pretty well with it.
Right.
I guess I'll probably just give it an 8 too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like somewhere
Yeah.
between 7.5 and 8, but
Listen,
I don't really have any qualms with this because I don't really
We've
care
set-
that it was goofy about the
set a
science.
threshold.
Mm-hmm. The floor is
Yeah, the floor has
very high.
been
Yeah.
completely
So you're giving
constructed.
it an 8?
It's your turn.
No, it's
No,
your
it's
next
her
one.
movie.
I
so
can-
we'll see.
I cannot give this an 8.
Oh my god, I hit him back.
I fucking hated it.
No, I didn't hate it. It was a fun movie. It's not even that bad. It's kind of bad. But it's not
No,
like
but see,
actually bad.
I'm getting convinced it's not even bad anymore.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
kind of like.
and I'm on the older and wiser end of my brain, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to point the
You
flaws
got
in
that
it.
big brain.
You're on
Yeah.
that bigger shark.
Yeah,
I'm,
big
I'm in
shark
that
brain.
Alzheimer's shark brain point where I'm just like,
Yeah.
movie's good, eat crown. Just sniff the glue, Annabeth. Quit thinking so hard. This movie's so
Put
good.
yourself in the shark's shoes.
Yeah. The score starts at 8 and only goes up. That is your metric at this point.
I'll give it a 6.5.
Ah.
It's not bad. It's
Is-
not
this
an 8.
Is this your first watch, though?
Yeah.
It'll. You know what? This is gonna
It'll
be like
grow on me.
like wine. It will only get better every
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I didn't, like, enjoy it,
What?
but... Joel, what are you giving it? Don't tell me you're giving it an 8.
I was not expecting them to all give it 8.
You put it on the damn
And
wheel.
now you're
Yeah.
gonna put it an 8,
Like-
aren't you?
I really enjoyed it. I've not watched it 10 times, but I watched it like 2 to
At
3
least.
times back in the day, and I always really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't. 8's a high number.
8's
Yeah.
a real high
it
number.
is. And it earned it. It jumped over the fence for
I feel
that
like they're
8.
calling us crazy.
I know.
So the thing is, I was gonna give it a 7.5, which is just a little bit below it.
Yeah,
Mm.
But
yeah.
if you guys are giving it 8,
Yeah.
Let's-
I might as well also give it
Drinking
an
the
8.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah. All right. It's the 8 Kool-Aid.
It's only half a point off from what I was gonna give it anyway.
Right.
Well, I mean, half the time we talk ourselves up a half point
That's
or
true.
down a half
Yeah.
point. Anyway,
Yeah.
so,
True.
That half point is the discussion. You know.
yeah.
If you're priced,
yeah.
sometimes it'll be 5 points. Who knows? You know?
Yeah, yeah, he can
Yeah.
get talked down
Yeah.
a lot of
Quick.
points.
He
He
can
can't
go-
get talked up points, but
No.
boy, can he go down.
He can
Yeah,
go from a
he's-
7 to a 1 real
Yeah.
fast.
It's a one-way street for
Yeah.
sure.
Like you get him thinking about a movie, and he might decide he actually hated that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He wishes he had every minute
Right.
back instead of watching that movie.
Right. So, anyways,
Wow.
was there any other standout points in your 8 other than the fact that it's?
I love him getting eat. I love Samuel Jackson getting eaten by the shark. I like that the cook survives and the lady dies.
Yeah.
The cook had 2 kills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to get down to brass
He almost had
tacks
3
Right. He
Yeah.
almost tripped it.
about
because he
how
almost got the other guy. You
Yeah,
know?
he almost got
Uh-huh.
Thomas
He
Jane.
gets Thomas Jane.
Yeah, but for all he knew, he was about to kill Thomas Jane.
he kind of killed the bird.
Nah, the
Well,
shark
the
died.
shark
he
just
tried
ate
to
the
save
bird.
the bird.
I was kind of sad
trying.
that the bird died. I wanted the cook and the bird to be
There-
the only ones to make.
Like the reality is, there ain't no way that bird gets
No,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also
Just
if
for all of the bad aspects of this movie, the good parts just outshine it.
They,
once you
yeah,
watch
the
it.
good parts were really good.
But the bad parts also don't
So
feel
it's more
like.
this way.
Towards that
Did
one.
I give this a 6 or a 6.5?
You
Was
It
it
says
6.5.
You go up to a 7.
No, okay, I'm sticking. I was like, if I give it a 6,
Ah.
it's definitely at least a
I'm
6.5.
gonna get a text
but-
message in 3
but
hours and she's
no.
gonna say, give it an 8.
They give it
No.
an 8. Yeah.
I've been
No.
thinking about
I'm
it.
telling you right
I
now, if I
cannot.
turn 50 and this movie hasn't turned into a 10 by that time, I'll be amazed.
Yeah, I was gonna say with
Just,
this
it
pattern.
compounds, but
Alright, my turn.
aw,
Yeah.
no, but you're gonna spin your wheel.
Yeah, I'm gonna spin my slot.
Oh my god. Can you dial
spin.
it? That is a big spin. Turn and then the reveal,
What?
Oh,
Smart sharks again!
which would go this way.
Yeah, we'll go with that. No, it would not go to the tape.
Because she
Yes,
said
it
not
would.
take. No, she said if it turns this
It
way.
This one was already picked.
No, she did say the other
This
way.
she
I
said
very
not take.
No,
specifically
it went
said
to
not
that.
towards.
No, but it won't bounce back and forth there. It'll follow to the next movie. The arrows don't interact with one another.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they skip over. No, that's not.
So if you have two arrows pointing at each other, you just ignore the second arrow that it didn't land.
Yeah.
on.
Right.
So that means it would be on the tape.
It's on tape.
He's right. It doesn't just keep like
Yeah, it can
bouncing
bounce back and
around.
forth.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it's
What
on
is-
tape.
What
I'm
is
confused
tape?
how we got to the
I'm gonna
tape
say it's
on the
VHS.
edge.
I don't know.
Please don't.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Good.
No. It's
Like I had thought about it because I had watched one at random,
Mm-hmm.
like I guess one of the much later ones, and I thought it was I thought it was good, and then
Oh,
okay.
I looked up where a bunch of people were talking about. They're all like, "Oh, the first one's the best. First one's the best. First one sucks."
Okay, I was gonna say
Bad
I remember
opinion.
that one.
Yeah.
Everybody is wrong.
Bad opinion.
The much later one that I watched was actually kind of interesting and got me thinking like, oh, maybe I want to check the other ones out. I hate the first one.
Was
Yeah.
it?
And
Was
yeah,
it,
super rapey, really just fucking disgusting.
was it VHS like 84 or something, or like 89?
There's one where it's just like a bunch of kids and they're like on a boat and they get killed and then realize they're
You
immortal
would like
because they were
this.
on the boat.
Hmm.
And then there's also
Oh.
this VR thing where this girl's like wearing a VR headset and this creature like basically rips her face out through the VR.
We're talking
There-
about Black Mirror now.
And then there's
Yeah.
like another one with like Aztec ruins, and then like this other thing with like a creature in a lab. Like it's doing like all these different things, and it is like that one was really good,
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but the first one is awful.
not good.
And I don't know, maybe I should get like originally that's what I was gonna do, but I was like, well, I mean, I put tapes, I could put one of those. Maybe I'll do that. And I don't remember what VHS it was, but I'll look it up.
No,
You can go with one of those.
We can
Wait,
watch
wait,
it.
No.
wait,
One of
wait.
those.
What was the actual
I think
movie
it's
you
3.
picked?
It was gonna be one of the VHSs,
He-
but
he-
I hated
he
the
left
first
the
one
door
so much
open.
that I didn't know if I
Oh.
wanted to
'Cause
pick that.
VHS, am I
Kind of
mistaken?
like Dylan, he has Will Smith on his slot.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's not he's not honed
You-
in on
yeah,
one.
you can
have
kinda
a
go with
catalog.
whichever one.
I
you
may
feel like
switch
that
my
day.
mind on this one by the time it's all said and done. Right.
Yeah, I mean
I just feel like it's 3 for no good reason.
it's whichever one has the Aztec thing.
VHS Aztecs, which is an interesting.
Yeah.
Google
Like
Like
a
search.
whole
anthology
like
thing.
just shelf of
Yeah,
VHS.
it could just be one of your
Listen,
little
this is the difference
literal
between a
VHS
horror
tapes.
movie or a kids '90s movie.
But,
So
yeah.
these are very different.
It'll be one of the VHSs. I'll
Alright.
figure it out,
fair enough.
and then we'll watch it.
And to be clear, VHS is not the English remake of Wreck.
No,
No, okay. What
That's
was
quarantine.
no, that
Quarantine?
was Quarantine.
Thank you.
Which
Oh,
is
yeah.
definitely worse than Wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Anthologies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
That's all
all.
they
It's
are.
so it's like 4 little stories.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just turning to like American Horror Story, but now it's VHS.
I actually just started watching that recently.
That
I'd
starts
never
strong,
seen it before.
and
Yeah, the first one was so
So
good.
good, yeah.
So good.
And then they just dropped the ball like
Mm.
First
really
3
fast.
are good.
Coven's great, but in a totally different tone. The second one has a good
Coven
start.
is very different. Yeah.
Yeah, the second one has a good start, and then immediately gets fucking awful.
Well, they dabble with like aliens in the second one a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's mainly like the Catholicism and just the hospital.
But the best
and
characters
asylum.
just put themselves into the oven. You know, like the characters are doing stupid shit.
So
at the
did
end.
LL Cool J. You know?
Hell yeah. But you know what? He caught a shark with that win. So who are we to complain on this one?
With the freaking flick of the lighter.
Anyways, if you like killing sick, way smarter than you sharks, let us know in the comments below. What did you think? What's the best shark kill? And that can be the person that died or the shark that died.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite still remains to be
It's
Sam
Papa
Jackson.
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård is good.
That was
He's got a
so
good death.
cool. That shark was just like, "Oh, I brought you something."
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He
And then
doesn't
it
even
just-
die right there. He's
No,
still
Right.
alive.
He was still like,
Like when the helicopter has him, and it's just like a little toy for the
Oh,
shark.
yeah.
It's ridiculous
Uh-huh.
and very funny.
I will point out that it feels like Stellan's way too old for the girl that he's with at that time, though, too, right?
This was
Like,
also like 20 years ago.
I know.
I don't feel like the man is aged.
No, he really hasn't.
True.
So, do you think Stellan Skarsgård's skin routine is better than
he
ours? Let us
definitely
know.
had the worst death too because he survived all of that.
Yeah.
He was living
He
while
was-
dying.
He was
He was
He probably
Conscious.
just
like
he
he drowned
Yeah,
after
well, I
getting
mean,
his
probably
arm
not even
ripped
drunk.
off.
Like, oh, maybe he died of blood loss.
What's
Yeah.
Blood loss is probably the
Probably
official cause of
blood
death.
loss, yeah. But
But-
he was like
Because he
still
had
kind
like
of-
an oxygen mask on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is definitely the worst death
that was a bad way to go.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Not explosion?
That's quick.
Yeah. But anyways, as always, make sure to like the video because we keep doing these videos every single year, including this maybe new one that I won't say because we don't date the video here on this one. As always, make sure to hit the bell so you know. And can you? There we go. Just make sure to hit the bell so you know when the next video comes out. You know, we might even surprise you. This, based on recording and based on when it releases, we don't even know when these come out. None of the girls' whole season have come out at this point, so
We don't know.
the girls don't even know if their videos will come out.
Maybe they just won't.
Maybe we just record it for the sake
Okay,
of
we
it.
got the spreadsheet at least. with
Yeah,
the scores.
and then we skip the season entirely in the verse.
I'm pretty sure I figured it out. It's VHS 85.
All right.
That's what I was thinking.
This looks like Paranormal Activity 3, and I'm kind of here for that. 'cause
Oh,
It's got a
no.
5.6 out of 10.
That's pretty solid.
Not great.
No, that's for
for an 8 pick, it's really
for
good.
IMDb, which I'm sure it is. That's
Uh-huh.
actually a pretty average movie.
Yeah.
A little bit below average, maybe.
Yeah,
All
Well,
right.
no, your
pretty
average
sure
doesn't
that's
start at 5. Your average starts at like 6 or 7.
Ours
right?
doesn't, but everybody else's is stupid and fucking goes on this
Yeah.
metric. So this is probably close to like 6.5 or 7 for me, Mason.
They're, yeah, I mean, your all scoring system is like
Statistically
school-
accurate.
grade school coded.
Yeah,
is the
a little
problem.
bit. Yeah,
We're
it
still
is.
stuck in grade school,
It-
so that's
yeah.
fine.
I mean, if you're talking about mine and Mason's peak years, that tracks.
Just wait till we get
Yeah.
to distingued, proficient,
Uh-huh.
novice. Like,
You know what? We need to start
We need
adding
to
those
start
in
doing
it.
that.
At the very end, we're going to add one of those.
Yeah, portfolios.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Just the
kind of scoring.
weighted average.
Yes.
Yeah.
Converted.
Can we start
into,
curving
How many
certain
stars
genre
we give each
films?
movie?
Yeah.
Start putting certain genres on a curve.
Yeah.
Just like trash anime.
Yeah.
Just like
Trash anime is on a
weighted
negative
super
curve.
80s
Right.
sci-fi.
Uh-huh. 80s
Yeah.
sci-fi and action thrillers are on a wildly high curve for no good reason.
Teenage dramas.
Yeah,
Just
teen-
they
Both
break
of
the
us,
ceiling.
yeah, are just way up here on this one. If you continue to enjoy mine and Mason's grading scale, also let us know in the comments below. But until next time, we'll see you with VHS 85. Bye, guys. Remember, don't dive into the water. The sharks will get you. But
Yeah,
don't
unless-
hurt the
unless you're
sharks. They don't
Thomas Jane.
deserve it.
You're fine.
Don't worry.
We're the
about it.
dickheads.
Sharks are fine.
Yeah, sharks are great. We're the problem. Until
Yeah.
then,
Hashtag justice for
Bye.
sharks.
justice for sharks.